Hey, it's Alice Seba from bestsellersummit.com. And of course, I am here with Ron Douglas, co-founder of the Bestseller Summit as well, and New York Times bestselling author, and probably the main reason that you're here tonight. I've known Ron for many years and have worked quite closely with him for the past year, and his insights and ideas never cease to amaze me. So I'm really glad that you're able to be here and tap into that knowledge and experience. Ron's going to be telling us about the 5 lessons he's learned after selling over 1.4 million books and ebooks. So sit tight because you're not going to want to miss a thing. And so welcome to everybody, and hello, Ron. Do you want to maybe, I know a lot of people here probably are already familiar with you, but you're new to a lot of people as well. Maybe give them a little bit of information about your background.
Hey, Alice, how are you?
Hello, I am good.
I'm glad we organized this. It gives me a chance to hear you say some good things about me.
Yes.
Yeah, so about me, yeah, I'm a New York Times bestselling author. I have a series of cookbooks. That was kind of the niche that I got into back in 2003, was the cooking niche, and I started creating these cookbooks called America's Most Wanted Recipes. And what they are copycat restaurant-themed cookbooks where I teach people how to make secret recipes from like chain restaurants like Red Lobster and Cheesecake Factory and stuff like that. So I began building an audience for that back in 2003, and I self-published between 2003 and 2008. Ended up selling about 60,000 copies self-published between the book, physical book, and ebooks. And it was the #1 bestseller on ClickBank for a long time, for many years in the cooking category. And I built a huge audience from that, and that led to some media appearances and finally a book deal with Simon & Schuster in 2008. And my first book with them, they kind of repurposed the book that I've been selling and resold it in bookstores and whatnot. That came out in 2009. And I got some more publicity for that for a KFC recipe, a version of my KFC recipe. And that landed that book as a #1 bestseller on the New York Times list. Actually, it was a #3 bestseller on the New York Times list. And kind of catapulted me. And now I've sold over 1.4 million books. I've done 6 of those books in the past, since 2009. So like one just about every year.
Wow. It's a great story to hear. Oh, and I love hearing it over and over again. I'm not complaining, of course, no. But just wanted to say there's the Q&A mode is on during this, and we'll take your questions. We'll probably closer to the end or as they fit in here. So there are some people commenting on the comments area down below, but I think you have to press the Q&A, and that will actually show, because we can't see the comments area right now when we're inside the video, doing the video. So look for that, and we'll keep an eye out for your questions. And hopefully if you see anybody who's confused and you want to leave a comment for people, all they have to do is press play and they'll be able to see us. I see some people are a little confused on how to get in. It's confusing if it's new to you. So 5 lessons, Ron. What's the first thing?
5 lessons. Well, I would say the first thing I learned from all of that, and if I was telling someone to do what I did, it would be to pick a topic and just focus on it. Focus on building it out and maximizing all avenues to get traffic to it. Mastered one traffic source at a time. It just kind of, the thing is, like, people jump all around. They have a dozen different niche markets that they're in. They have a dozen different products that they're trying to sell. They just jump from one thing to the next. And I did that when I first started, and I was an affiliate marketer, and I started promoting one thing after the next, and I started dabbling in the internet marketing space, selling information on that. And I found that once I found my niche and kind of just laser focused in on that and focused all my efforts into that one thing, I was able to build that really big and kind of put blinders on and say, what can I do next to make this thing grow even bigger? And if you do that, and if you focus and do a few things every day on one particular project, at the end of the month, if you do 3 things every day, at the end of the month, that's 90 things you've have accomplished towards that goal. And just focus in and focus all your time. Because when I first started doing this, I was doing it part-time, right? So I didn't leave my job until 2007 when I first left my corporate job on Wall Street. So especially when you're doing it part-time, you can't really jump around. You got to kind of focus in, and the little time that you have adds up over time into one big, huge accomplishment. So that's one thing I would say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's quite obvious to do that, to sell 1.4 million books. You have to focus. Like a lot of you, it's just like you said, a lot of people do that. They jump around, they want to see what will stick or whatever. But it's hard to really get that traction if you're all over the place and trying to do different things and trying to figure out what that big thing is. But, you know, if you put your effort in there, it's going to happen.
Yeah, and it takes time to build it up. I mean, some people just put something out, spend a month on it. Oh, it's not what I want to do, and just jump on to the next thing. Where you have to give things a chance to work, right? Even if you buy a product and someone's showing you how they did something, and then most people might try it once or twice, and then don't stick with it, and then just dismiss it as if it doesn't work. And meanwhile, there's dozens of people making money, making a good living, doing the same thing. But just because it didn't work when you tried it your little couple times doesn't mean that it's a scam or it doesn't work or it's not for you. Everything you accomplish, it has to be like, there's always a period where it's not going to work, and then you figure out what you need to figure out to make it work. And that's why I say, stick with one thing, especially if it has good potential. Which brings me to my next point, which is don't try to reinvent the wheel. Find what's selling. Find a market that's already selling. Don't try to create something and then find a market for it. Find the market first, create something for that market. Find the buyers, create something for those buyers, and put your own spin on what's already selling, right? So, I wasn't the first person to do copycat restaurant recipes, but I was probably the first person to do that and open it up where affiliates can promote it and kind of be all over the internet with it, and just not go for just a publisher model where you're only getting 7.5%, 8% royalties. I was self-publishing, and I was able to pay out affiliates for doing it. We're going to talk about that. That's probably like my one of the last points we're going to talk about in the 5. But yeah, the second point is find an angle in a mass market where there are a lot of buyers, and put your own spin on a product. Find a problem that they're having and present a solution. And then if it's a mass market, if it's something that has good potential, if there's a lot of buyers, then it's worth putting that time and effort in, which goes back to the first point.
Yeah. So how do you find those things? So how do you know a lot of people that we see come up with these obscure little topics, and they think that might they might be able to tap into something new, or sometimes you can't tell what's doing well or what maybe is going to be coming up big. Do you have any tips on how to figure that out?
Yeah, there are a lot of tools you can use to figure out if there's buyers in the market. Sometimes it's just obvious, right? The cooking market, obviously people are buying cookbooks and stuff. But I mean, other products related, other niches related to that you can sell information in. You could find, if there's like a magazine for that topic, that's usually a good indication that people are subscribing to the magazine and people are willing to pay money to learn about that topic. If you could search the different networks where they sell products, like the ClickBanks, the JVZoo, the Udemy, places like that, to see if they have products that are already selling related to those markets. And a lot of times you could tell by certain indicators on those markets, like ClickBank, for instance. You could tell by gravity if there's a lot of people making money promoting a different product or that particular product. Or you could look at Amazon's bestseller list. You could see if there's a lot of products out there that are bestsellers that are selling well. You could look at, you just go to YouTube and type in some type of how-to question related to that niche and see how many videos come up. You can see Google AdWords. You could use the AdWords tool to see the search volume for that particular market. So there's a lot of ways you can do your research to find out if a market's hot. But you probably know if you've never heard of it and don't know anything about it, and nobody's talking about it, and you can't find anything on it, don't think you've discovered something hot that nobody knows about. It's probably like there for a reason that nobody's like kind of selling anything in it. It's kind of rare to find a market where nobody's already selling stuff in it, unless it's something brand new.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep. So the third thing, I mentioned I got a lot of publicity, And, when I was first doing this, when I was self-publishing, I didn't think that my story was media worthy. I didn't think that I'd be able to get a book deal. I was just doing it to kind of supplement my income and eventually try to like leave my corporate job and spend more time with my daughter. That was my main purpose. And sometimes when you go to different events and you talk to different people, especially people who have accomplished bigger things than yourself, and kind of network with them, they kind of open your eyes to what's possible. So one of the people I met back, it might have been 2007, I met Tom Bill, might have been 2006 or 2007. And he had been working with football player Jim Kelly, and he had done some stuff with him related to publicity. So he kind of told me, like, your story, you can get a lot of media exposure for it because it's such a great story. And he kind of opened my eyes to that opportunity. Like, maybe that's possible, right? Because if you don't think it's possible, you're never going to pursue it yourself. So, if you have something that people want to buy, is likely an angle where you can get media attention for it as well. If you just kind of put your name out there. So I went, I kind of hired a publicist and we went for it. We just started contacting different media contacts and they had us on. And my very first interview was before I ever got a book deal. I was just self-publishing and I got on Fox Business. And the story was, former Wall Street guy leaves his job on Wall Street to pursue his passion of cooking. And this was in 2008, right during the Great Recession. So they really loved that story. And it was the perfect story for that time. So a lot of times, you could find an angle for a press release or an angle for your story that ties right into what's hot or what everybody's talking about at the time and kind of run with that. So yeah, the third step is the media really needs your story, but what you do need is credibility. So if you look at what I did, I had a huge following already. I had 150,000 subscribers. I had sold over 60,000 books at the time. I had this website. I had this blog. I had, if you Googled my book name or my name, you'll see all these affiliates all over the internet talking about me. And the media doesn't know about affiliate marketing or whatnot. So if you have an affiliate program, which is one of my other points too, if you have an affiliate program, you can have a lot of affiliates saying good stuff about you. And when people Google your name, they'll see all these rave reviews about your product. So that'll definitely help. But, the media definitely needs your story. It's a 24-hour news cycle. And you can start out just by trying to get on your local stations or local radio stations, on your local newspaper. And being that you're a local, it's a lot easier to do it if you have a good story that kind of ties into what they want to cover.
Yeah, for sure. And that's what I was thinking, because you said you got onto the Fox Business News and you had this huge following before, but that's a big accomplishment right there. But the local media is perfect. And all the times where I kind of tend to shy from that media stuff. But when I did start out, I was new and I had barely accomplished anything, but they wanted those stories and it was easy to get on the local news and get in the newspaper and stuff like that. You just have to find that, angle, and you kind of did something there. And I think it's interesting because you started with that, where it was kind of about you and your job and what you were doing now. But then you also did that wasn't as focused on your products, but then you kind of turned it into that where you were talking more about the recipes and things like that, and that got you more media attention. I don't know if you want to share some of that.
Yeah, definitely. The KFC story definitely got me a lot of media attention because that was that thing, everyone knows about it. So what I did was just piggybacked off of the fame of that recipe, and the everyone thinks it's this big secret recipe and everyone knows about it. And if you look at what the cookbooks did, and the whole niche that I was in was just kind of piggybacking off of the fame of the restaurants, right? So people weren't buying a cookbook because it was me selling it. They were buying a cookbook because they wanted to know what these recipes were, right, from the restaurants. Mm-hmm. So it's all based on other people's fame. So I was kind of piggybacking off of that the whole time. But yeah, the KFC story, and then they started featuring different having me on talk shows and stuff, having me cook live and featuring different dishes from the book, which was good for the book because I was able to say, this recipe is on this page. You can go check it out in the book, that type of thing.
Yeah. And you were on the Home Shopping Network too. So what did you do on there?
Yeah, Home Shopping Network. Man, that was nerve-wracking the first time. I was on Home Shopping Network 6 times.
Oh,
6 different episodes. Yeah, I was supposed to be on 7 episodes, but one episode I sold out the entire inventory that they bought, and I was supposed to come back in the afternoon for a second show. And they're like, "Well, you sold out on the first show, so we're not going to have you back on in the afternoon," which was fine
way
with
to
me.
go.
So I got to hang out in the hotel the rest of the day. It was cool. They used to fly me down to St. Petersburg, is where they have Home Shopping Network, and they fly me down there. And they have this big giant warehouse. It looks like a Costco or something with all. It's this big campus where they have Home Shopping Network, and it's a 24-hour a day live broadcast. And I used to say to them, like, I said to them once, "How come you don't just take some of the best episodes and kind of run that again and show the repeat of it, like maybe late at night or something, and then sell it over again?" And they're like, "No, we don't want to do that because each episode has that built-in scarcity of there's only 3 minutes left. There's only a minute left. There's only, we only have 20 items left." And you see that live ticker of how many is being sold. And that's what helps create the most sales on Home Shopping Network. And that's why they do that 24 hours a day. So they used to call me in, like they would put me early in the morning, like 7 o'clock. I would be on a 7 o'clock episode, and I used to have to be there by 5:30. I used to have to go into makeup and supposedly talk to the host. So I would arrive, 5:15 or so. I'd have to wake up like 4:45.
Poor dear.
Yeah, it was crazy. I would go out there, and I was supposed to always meet with the host like an hour before I aired, but the host would never meet with me an hour before. They would always meet with me 5 minutes before we were about to go on. So really, I didn't really have to get there that early. After all, I could have got there like, if it's 7 o'clock show, I could have got there like 6:30 or something. And they always say it's the 7 o'clock hour. So I, end up getting on like 7:45 or something for like 10 minutes. And it'd be a 10-minute segment. And it was so like unorganized. You go there and nobody knows who you are. And you got to tell them like, "Oh, I'm this person." And okay. And they sit you in this like lobby. And you would think it's more like you think of Hollywood and stuff like that, where they have like a special room for you with a star on it. And they have somebody come that's organized and telling you where you need to be. You kind of got to figure all this stuff out for yourself. And then like 10 minutes before you start, somebody comes to looking for you to get you. It was just, unlike I thought it was going to be, but yeah, I was on this.
It's for business.
Yeah, they put me through like a sales training, and I had to stand up there and sell books live. But the host was the one really selling it. I had to kind of I was like the host kind of hype man. Whatever she said, I kind of went along with that. Yeah, and then talked about like the book and about the recipes and kind of let her do the selling, which was because the host has that relationship with the audience, so they want the host to kind of do the selling. So it was a cool experience being on TV live, trying to sell books.
So they sold single books, or they sold like a set of books, or?
No, single books.
Wow.
Books. Yep. Yeah. We would sell like 800 books, 900 books in a 10-minute segment, and then they would move on to the next product. I think one time I sold over 1,000. You can see it on YouTube too. It's all on YouTube, Home Shopping Network.
Yeah, I don't think I saw that one. I've watched a lot of your clips before, but I don't think I've seen that. That would be nerve-wracking. Yeah. I just saw the movie Joy, who was like, I forgot the woman's real name, but she was like one of the original people. I can't, whatever it was called back then. It wasn't the Home Shopping Network, but it kind of showed that chaos of everything. She kind of she sold her products through them, and then she works with those companies now. But it's pretty interesting.
Yep. So what were we talking about? Okay.
So was that number 3?
Yeah, that was number 3. The media needs your story, and you just need credibility. And the credibility ties into my next point, which are one of the main things you can do for credibility is write a book, right? Books are a major source of credibility, right? So when you see these morning shows and they bring people on, a lot of times they have authors, and whatever the topic is, if it's a book related to that topic, you automatically have credibility, right? If you're talking about like, I don't know, give any topic, like what the Republicans need to do to win in 2016, right? That would be a hot topic. And if you had a book related to that topic, something about the Trump Diaries or something, some type of book related to what that particular topic, then they'll be like, he's the author of this book. And if it ties into that topic, you automatically have credibility. So books, we're going to be talking a lot about publishing books, selling books, getting a book deal, that type of thing, and the Bestseller Summit that we have coming up tomorrow. It starts the registration for it, bestsellersummit.com.
Yes, registration tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern time, and then we do the 4-day summit starting the following Monday, January 18th, and it runs to the 21st, and all online. So just, from the comfort of your own home, but we've got lots of great speakers lined up. A really A-list group of people who are going to be able to teach a lot of wonderful things that you may not have thought of before, or probably haven't thought of before. So we're looking forward to that.
Yeah, some of them are best-selling authors. Some of them are just internet marketing experts who have a huge platform and learn how to build their audience. So it's not just going to be about book selling. It's going to be about social media marketing. It's going to be about using Amazon, selling books on Amazon Kindle. We have people talking about all different topics. Well, back to that point, books are a major source of credibility. Also, building your audience, having your own platform is a major source of credibility, right? So if you want to get media exposure, or if you just, want to be known as an expert in your industry and you want people to promote your products and things like that, then those are two sources of credibility that you should strive to have. Be a published author on that topic, and also have an audience, have a customer list, have a platform, build a list, have a Facebook page, have social media, a platform there too. So that's the thing you really want to focus on. And that's what we're going to be talking about a lot in the Bestseller Summit. Like, how do you build that list? How do you do it? If you don't have a huge advertising budget, if you just want to do it using free traffic sources, that's some of the things we're going to be talking about. And that's really one of the main things I learned. And I'll tell you how I did it, just to give people something. I don't want just like to tease the Bestseller Summit and not give you guys anything for showing up right now. I had a product. The product had kind of a mass appeal to it, but it was different than everything else that was being sold in the industry at the time. And I was using ClickBank for my affiliate platform. I put the product there, and then I just started trying to find affiliates to promote that product, and I would give them a percentage for promoting it. So I had an affiliate program, which is simple stuff I'm sure you probably heard of. But in certain niches like cooking or outside of the internet marketing space, there's people out there desperately looking for ways to monetize their email lists, ways to monetize their blog, ways to monetize their Facebook page. They're looking for products like, what can I sell, on get a commission for promoting. Like my friend Ty hit me up not too long ago asking me, like, we're in the writers market. He was like, do you know any other products for writers that I could sell? Because it's not too much out there, right? So if you get away from the internet marketing space, competing with all of these experts and product creators, and get away from that and get into other niches, you'll find that there's people out there that will promote your product that are actively looking for products to sell. And that's what I found in the cooking market. So all I did was, back then, when people would come to my site, maybe only 3% of them would buy, which is decent. 97% of them would leave. So before they left, I would offer them sample recipes, a sample of my product, right? Or a chapter or something that ties into your product, a teaser for your product, just in exchange for their email list, for their email address. And from there, I would build my email list like that. So that's how I was able to build it. And then I would also reinvest some of my profits that I would make from sales into advertising, into Google AdWords, which was the big thing back then. It was the hot source of traffic. I think today maybe it's Facebook is the hot source of traffic. But you want to tap into these hot sources of traffic while they're hot, while they're still affordable, and kind of milk it for all it's worth, which I was able to do with Google AdWords. So between the combination of affiliates promoting my product on a commission basis and me getting traffic through Google AdWords by reinvesting my profits, I was able to build that customer list and build that email list and build my platform.
Yeah, for sure. So I know a lot of people here, your point about having a book, going back to that, is that a lot of people here, probably that's why they're here, they want to write a book, but a lot of people are just doing online marketing, doing information products, and for me, actually, I have not released a book because the information products and selling content in different ways has been really profitable. So sometimes I think, like, because if I release the book, then that's something I don't necessarily know how to promote specifically myself. So why, how do I incorporate it into what I'm doing? How do I make it easy to create the book? And maybe, I don't know what the second part of the question is. That was supposed to just be the first part, is really how do you decide, like, you're doing all this content, you're doing all these information products, you're doing this other stuff. How do you decide what to get and put into a book?
How do you decide what to put into a book? What type of book to write?
Don't know. I mean, okay, so we'll think of me for an example. So as you know, I always have tons of content. If you ask me to put something together on a subject or whatever, I've got tons of it. But and then I use it for internet marketing purposes. So how would I put something, set it aside, and decide it's in a book? Or do I use that same content and repurpose it for a book?
Well, it depends on what your goal is for the book, right? If your goal is you want to brand yourself as an expert in a certain topic, then you would write all about that topic, right? But it's hard for most people to want to commit to a topic. It's like if you want to say, okay, well, what's your topic that you want to be known as? People think that if you do that one book on that topic, then you can't do a book on a different topic. You can, it's like whatever you're good at, whatever you know about, whatever you want to be an expert in. A lot of people have that commitment issue. Like, okay, well, if I want to do a book on SEO, am I locked into only doing SEO? You could do more than one book. No one's saying that you can't do one. So, for someone like you, if you wanted to be known as, I don't know, a content marketing expert, you could do a book about, how to get free traffic on the internet using content, something like that. That wouldn't be the title, but it would be like, that's what the book is about. If you wanted to do that, if you wanted to have coaching and products related to that, and you wanted to be the expert on that topic, that would be, a way you can go. The other way is if you just want to write a book, whether it be, write a fiction book, and you just want to share stories and stuff like that as a fiction book, you can do that too. There's no limit on the amount of stories and books you could write, or the amount of people that might buy it. But those are a little bit more difficult to get off the ground because it's more difficult to find people interested in that topic, right? Something like internet marketing, content marketing, SEO, or cooking or something like that.
For health.
You know where they hang out. You know where there's people that are looking for information related to that. Something like a fiction book is more difficult to do it. So you would have to do a lot more bootstrapping, a lot more, giving your book out for free to people like influencers, like bloggers and social media experts, and trying to get them to review your book and share it and things like that. Trying to kind of grassroots campaign to make it go viral and make people say, oh, this is a great book. Did you read this book yet? That type of thing. Either that, or you got to have a budget behind it where you can promote it, maybe pay for a publicist, pay for ads to it, build an audience. But it always helps to build an audience first, right, before you release the book. So when the book comes out, you have a better chance of it, ranking well if you're selling it on Amazon. If you just release the book, there's a chance that it may be obscure and nobody even knows about it. And then you kind of start from scratch. But if you build your audience first, then release a book to that audience, then you already have buyers for it. And it starts out, you start the ball rolling, and you start out with a lot of momentum behind you.
Yeah, that's a really good point, because I think a lot of people think of it kind of like the traditional publishing way, where if you get a publisher, they'll do the marketing for you. But for most people, that's not what's going to happen. You got to do it yourself. I liked what you said, though, about, you can do it on different topics. And I'm thinking of one of our speakers at the Bestseller Summit, and it's Joel Comm, who is very good at picking up on things that are hot and stuff. And he's written on different topics. He did the Google AdSense many years ago, then Twitter, and then he's released different, he got into that, into selling an app, and also just other little novelty things, and just kind of picking up on what's hot out there and going for it, and done very well for himself doing that.
Yeah, Joel is definitely an expert. He's going to be part of the Bestseller Summit, sharing his secrets as well. We're going to pick his brain about how he became a New York Times bestseller and how he comes up with ideas for books. And he's just an idea generating machine, one thing after the next. Joel is, I didn't realize that he was so, he had done stuff that I'd known about and completely forgot about. Like he had sold a company to Yahoo, years ago. I think that's one of his first big accomplishments. And then he had the iFart app that got a lot of media attention, and so many downloads were done on the Apple Store. It was like the #1 app on Apple for a while. So yeah, he's going to be there. He's very accomplished. Yeah, for sure. All right. So that brings us to the last point.
Oh.
And that ties right in with what we were saying is you want to find what's hot and kind of piggyback off of it. And you want to open up your market to benefit from leverage, right? To benefit from the efforts of not just yourself, but the efforts of other factors, whether it be the efforts of other people promoting the book, whether it be the efforts of having a distribution channel, such as a book publisher. You want to open it up so that other people are involved in getting the word out for you, right? If you just focus on just your efforts alone, you're always going to be limited in what you can accomplish. But if you can open it up where, maybe you have a book publisher, maybe you know how to tap into Amazon and use their network, which we're going to teach you how to do to tap into their network of buyers. Maybe you want to have an affiliate program where, other sites can promote your thing. And you also want to tap into whatever's hot at the time, whatever the hot traffic source is. As I said, that, I was using Google AdWords back when you can get 5-cent clicks on Google AdWords, 10-cent clicks, and just drive as much traffic. You could send people to a squeeze page and, collect email leads from it back then before they changed the rules. Facebook is kind of like that today. And I foresee them changing the rules probably soon too, but that's another source. If you know how to play their game, you can get a lot of traffic from it. And the next one might be, who knows, might be Instagram, might be Pinterest, might be Twitter ads, it might be, YouTube ads are hot right now. So you don't want to dismiss these traffic sources when they're hot. You kind of want to learn them, tap into them, and get as many people to buy your products and get on your email list as possible from these networks. Build your platform as big as possible while these networks are hot.
Yeah, for sure. And then it never goes out of style to, make connections with people, your affiliates and stuff, having people talk about you. Word of mouth will always be around, no matter what rules change or things like that. So it's definitely important to be out there getting to know people and build. Even, a small audience can help you grow so much more because they spread the word about you and you do good things for them.
Yeah, that's one of the things we're doing with the Bestsellers Summit too, is we're going to give people an opportunity to not just register for the summit, but to join us in our Elite Writers Lab. We have this networking platform called the Elite Writers Lab where people can join and interact with other experts and get out and get to know people without even leaving your house. You can, do it right online through our Facebook groups and different things like that. So we create these opportunities. And these are things that we wish that were there when we were, just getting started. I wish there was an Elite Writers Lab that I could have joined back then. So we're making it available for you guys. So you'll get more information about that when you register for the Bestsellers Summit starting tomorrow.